Okay, no
It is,
problem.
okay, so 7, and Clerk Hosen, would you monitor the quorum for us, please?
Will do.
Thank you. All right, so it is 7:07. We're going to call this meeting of the Board of Commissioners to order. If Clerk Hosen, if you would do a roll call, please.
Will do. President Franklin,
Here.
Commissioner Brooks,
Here,
Commissioner Colbert,
here,
Commissioner Lott,
She's on her way, but not here yet.
okay, Commissioner Pravat,
Here.
Town Administrator Carol Richardson,
Here.
Public Works Director Darnell Bond,
Here.
Police Chief David Burse,
Here.
John Hudson, Town Clerk here.
Thank you. I'm going to ask that before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, that we have a moment of silence for those who were lost on the Key Bridge last night. We can do that now, please. Thank you. And the town of Upper Marlboro's condolences go out to all those lost. We'll rise for the pledge now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. Justice for all.
All right, we will move into review of the agenda. Clerk Hosen?
Will do. Under business, we have A, public comment, town tax rate, 5 minutes. B, fiscal year 2025 draft updated budget, board discussion. C, resolution 2024-07, Pratt Street address change, board vote. D, Church Street RFP, board vote. E, commissioner training, board vote. F, sponsorship packages, board discussion. G, annexation update, board discussion. 8, administrative updates. 9, public comment for items not necessarily on the immediate agenda. 10, preliminary approval of next meeting agenda. And 11, motion to go into closed session.
Thank you. And are there any additions, changes to the agenda at this time? Hearing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Colbert, and we're sorry you're not feeling well. Clerk Hosen, would you call the roll?
Will do. President Franklin,
Aye.
Commissioner Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Colbert,
Aye.
Commissioner Pravat.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. I just realized I could have seconded that. We will move on to reports, and we will defer the Arts Council report until Commissioner Lott joins us. Sir, Chief first.
Yes, CERT had their original, monthly meeting. Basically, they did training every Saturday of the month. Anybody's interested, sign up, come out. They will be looking to possibly update their logo to the town's new logo. So they discussed that a little bit today. So get back with us, change the follow on.
All right. What time do they meet on the second Saturday? 9? 9 a.m. here at Town Hall. Right. Economic Development Work Group, Commissioner Colbert, only if you feel well enough. If not, I will.
No, it's fine. No real update at the moment. As I mentioned at the last meeting, we submitted the Town Sustainable Communities application for redesignation. So we're waiting to hear back from THCD on determination of that. And I just sent an email prior to this meeting to set the next meeting post application submission, which will be the first in a regular cadence to actually do more of the work of the committee. So more to come on that.
Thank you. Events Committee, Commissioner Brooks, do you want us to wait till you get here? Let's do that. We're going to do that.
No, I can go ahead and say I met with the ladies last Thursday, and the meeting was very productive. And we were just waiting on a budget. Everyone is very energized and ready to go. And we're meeting again this Thursday at 6 o'clock remotely. But we're just waiting for a budget. But everybody's energized and ready to go.
Great. So 6 p.m. this Thursday virtually?
Yes.
All right. If anyone wants to join, we'll get the link up. Hi, Commissioner Laha. Did you want to do the Arts Council report?
Okay, sure. So we met the first Monday of this month and basically went over a couple of ideas for the Pocket Park. I need to reach out to Administrator Richardson to speak about finding some grant money so we can maybe put a fountain, maybe do something for the kids. And we are talking about the Happy Leaf Festival, and I do have some dates that I need to bring to the board.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Thank you. And I know that Director Bonds worked on a couple of different grant applications over the past 2 years for Pocket Park stuff. So
Okay.
no one talked to him. All right, Commissioner Pravat.
Green Team, the Green Team did meet for this evening. They didn't meet.
They had a date, but it was my son and I planted seedlings.
Okay, Sarah, thank you. And I also want to greatly apologize to the Green Team for not responding to emails at a timely manner. I missed them, and I'm sorry. And we need to schedule a meeting in person to actually meet and establish who is the team captain and how often are we going to meet every month.
Yeah, there are a lot of farmers, so it's hard.
Yeah.
But hopefully get them all in a room.
Yeah, and it is sowing time, so.
Yeah, and I like to plant. My son wanted to plant seeds, so, all right, we'll just plant them. Historical Committee, we actually have the chair of the Historical Committee here. So if you would like to come to the podium and give us a report, you are welcome to. We're happy to have you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Primarily, the Historical Committee is really pressing forward to get the town involved in the 250th commemoration for the state and the nation coming up in 2026 in July. And part of spearheading this effort, we're trying to launch a writing essay. And we've narrowed it down to the high school seniors. And the monies, we're requesting permission to expend those funds towards that aim of giving awards to the best essays of approximately 1,000 words, which comes up to about 2 pages for a senior in the high schools. We're trying to reach somewhere in the area of around like 8 winners, and we figure that will, it just entices a love and an appreciation for history. It's something they may never forget, and carry it with them through their life. You know, especially on their way to college, some are gonna be on their way to the workforce. So we just think it's a good legacy for the town to establish that. Maybe just Wise, Frederick Douglass,
Those are,
there may be like one more.
we have some residents that go to Elizabeth Seton.
Any go to
We do?
Largo?
Have any residents go see it?
Question, are you having them do the essay on, about the town's history?
Yes, the projection is there's nearly 400 years of history. So they could start from basically 1695 or 1704, work their way all the way up to 2024. It focuses in on what do you think your demographic communities' biggest contributions were to the history of the county seat and the county at large.
How much are you expecting the rewards to be around?
I would like for those awards to be $100 at 8 winners.
Okay, around it.
So let me ask you, so are you planning on doing, and is that for 2026 or that's for 2024?
No, that's for 2024. We want to hit the ground running
Okay,
now.
so then my question is, what else are you guys planning to do? Because we have to look at that to be more cost effective. What else, what other,
Towards the commemoration.
yeah, yeah,
There's tons of communications that I can have forwarded to you guys so you can see the whole layout. We're in touch with Annapolis on a regular basis. Michelle Johnson, the governor's state appointee, is kind of directing us step by step also, because we're trying to seek grants
right.
to support the town's efforts in this. And she's willing to sit down with the grant writers in the town, whatever's required.
I think, too, the kind of the question is there any other monies you're planning on spending between now and June 30th? So we can determine, if it's coming out of historic committee or if the town, if you need the town to put in additional monies
For
from
the
our
budget.
which we have to just discuss.
Right.
So.
Right, that would be a discussion.
Right, but we also need to know what you're doing so that
Yeah.
we can plan.
Right.
So that's really what my question
Well,
is.
this would be to close out the budget for 2024, ending in June. We've, so far, there's been no expenditures.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so I don't wanna, but the money should be there. And,
Got it.
We'll go ahead and spend that toward, with your permission, towards that aim for this year because it's a catapult, to get the whole town effort for this, commemoration underway. And I say it because I think this is really good for the town. A lot of communities in the state have already hit the ground and running with this because there's a lot of potential revenue for our businesses. It's really a great move.
Okay, so my next question would be, as far as, how are you gonna rate them? Because if you wanna have 8 winners.
Excellent question. Excellent question.
The first, second, third, fourth.
No, what we will do, we don't figure that we're qualified to do that, so we're gonna get faculty. Themselves, principals, or we can go to some of the local colleges, get people that are qualified. We're not going.
Right, but still, how are you, okay, it don't have to be you,
There's
but
not
how,
gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4.
okay, so how are
It's
you
gonna
doing the,
be winner.
so you're gonna pick, so out of a stack, you're gonna pick 8? Okay, so, okay.
And that encourages more people, they have more of a chance, so they wanna jump in it more,
Okay.
And $100 isn't a lot, but to a teenager it is, and it's a good start, and, they're like, hey, if I gotta write a 2-page paper, pick up a quick $100 on the way to what I'm doing.
So is it open to all ages?
No, that's too much, you know, there was a lot of back and forth, in the consensus, trying to get that together, and most feel, I initially said 1,500 words, wrote it down to 1,000, roughly 2 pages.
Double space.
We tried to interpret the back and forth. We had a- they talked about this, at their last meeting, and I thought, given we're all kind of talking about engaging youth, that it would.
Yeah, I really like the idea, so, and I think even if $800, we can find it somewhere. Somebody can give it to us.
Yeah, I think to have it in their budget too, though.
We can ask for it.
With the changing of the town, you know, in the past, the historical committee has, you know, a little lame and a little dry and something, you know. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to go in a different direction. And I feel that the committee owes you value. And we're here to serve. And with the changing demographics, we have to become more inclusive instead of just telling the colonial story, you know. And this is another good way to get that started. Get the youngsters.
Oh,
This is what
I don't have any objection to it. I just had questions. That's it. I don't have no objection.
Any other questions for our?
Nope,
historical-
I'm good.
All right. Thank you so much for
hearing me,
being here.
Commissioner.
Thank you.
Yeah. Clerk Hotzen, do we have anyone from Greenwell Consulting online? I think Jonathan Carpenter was, or Leslie?
I see Jonathan on. Let me get him. Hold on one second. Hold on. Jonathan, you on? Jonathan?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know if you're supposed to see me. Can you see me?
I see you.
Oh, we can see you too. Look at
And
that.
I hear
Okay,
you.
excellent. Thank you. So I'll give you a quick update. I want to thank you all for the opportunity to represent you in Annapolis. Mayor, thank you for all the active participation and testimonies. As you know, I think most of you know, the budget has been out, debated. We're now in decision time mode. We've even had 3-day sessions last week. So that's how hot and heavy things are going at the legislature. We went in 3 days, I think, on 3 sessions on Thursday or Wednesday. So things are moving along. I just want to talk quickly about some of the important pieces of legislation that you have both testified on and we've been tracking and monitoring. HB 1319. A lot of folks have been tracking it. It's the internet gaming bill, the iGaming bill you've been hearing about. The big debate because of the potential revenue that could come from iGaming. It did have a hearing. It crossed over from the House Chairwoman Atterbury's bill. It crossed over to the House. There was a hearing in the Senate today, in fact, in budget and tax. I will tell you, the bill does not get a warm reception in the Senate, even though it passed the House and is over in the Senate. But we're not expecting, though anything can happen, despite the revenue that they are forecasting. There are a lot of concerns about iGaming and opening the state up to iGaming. So stay tuned on House Bill 1319, the iGaming bill. The companion bill, which is a little different, Senator Watson's bill, has not moved, which might give you any indication about where iGaming sits in the Senate. Always tell folks that there was 2 different houses, right? The House and Senate, and they both act accordingly of their own will. So we are, again, tracking HB 1319 because of the potential revenue opportunities that could come from it. The next bill I'd like to talk about has been very paramount to the town of Upper Marlboro, which is the Prince George's delegation bill, the relocation of the public school system headquarters. That bill is moving along. This bill would require a consultant to look at the feasibility of a potential move of the headquarters. The recommendations would come from the consultant over the next year. And then there would be recommendation that would come out of what to do with the building and what moves should be made across the board for the headquarters. So we have expressed concerns about the potential move and what that would mean for the town and the empty building. And so those concerns are being raised with Senator Watson and members of the delegation. So we are working behind the scenes to come up with a potential resolution. So we will continue to monitor that bill as it moves through in the legislature. And that again is House Bill 376. The next bill is a bill that I'm proud to say that the mayor and others were very vocal in the local audits legislation that you might have heard about, House Bill 165 and Senate Bill 747. These bills would have restricted any police aid that would come to the town from the state and any disparity grants. Very important amendments that we worked hard on and the mayor testified on to strike that language that would eliminate the possibility of them withholding police aid and also disparity grants. So in the present form, the bill does still restrict 20% of state funding for local highway user revenue. If a town or municipality or local government does not submit their financial audits in a timely fashion. Big amendments to this also is that this would take place after 3 years of not submitting, and it will not take place, will not start until, take effect until July 1 of 2025. So that gives municipalities and towns and counties time to try to catch up before this new rule takes place with the withholding of these state highway user funds. So again, those are things that were done through the legislature and through our fighting for these things and the testimony of the mayor. The other bill that I think we think could be of assistance to the town is Senate Bill 148, which is the flood management grant program legislation that deals with extreme flooding and the grants that could come from that. So the bill will add an additional up to $20 million annually, and it will concentrate at least, the bill says 40% of that funding should go to overburdened and underrepresented communities. So this could be a potential source of funding to deal with flooding in municipalities and towns. So we're watching this bill very closely also. It is moving through the legislature. So again, we continue to be advocating for that legislation. One other bill that I'd like to bring to your attention that we've been working closely on and working with the Minority Chiefs Alliance is HB 364, the traffic control devices legislation. It's again a Prince George's County delegation bill, had a unanimous vote from the delegation, which is a bill that would allow municipalities to use stop sign monitoring devices within the municipalities and be able to have citations similar to speed cameras. Again, this bill, over the summer with the things that have happened to pedestrians safely, like Riverdale, are the reasons that this came to the forefront and this type of technology is out there. And so there were some amendments that were put on the bill limiting where these devices could go and also the number of devices. There was a hearing in the budget in the Senate today, and the bill will get an amendment because there were Prince George's County senators that voiced their concerns for limiting the bill in terms of devices The amendments over in the House said you could only have 10 devices, if you could imagine, throughout the whole county. So that was kind of insulting. And so they are opening that back up in the amendments. And also it limited to only in school zone locations. Again, this may not be a location in a densely populated municipality that they determine that it's a intersection where it's needed at. And so both amendments will remove that and remove any sunsets that make this a pilot. Because this bill has, this device has already been piloted throughout many of the municipalities by many of the police chiefs in Prince George's County. And that's why the Minority Chiefs Alliance was very much in support of this legislation. So with that said, Mayor, I know that was quick, but as you know, things are moving quickly. Like I said, we're in decision time in terms of the budget and capital budget. And so we are working to diligently bring these reports forward. And thank you for all that advocacy work you've done.
Thank you. I have one question, which is on the stormwater bill.
Yes.
We don't qualify as an overburdened and underrepresented community because 90% of your houses are subject to flooding. So, but it's only 40% that goes to that. So there is 60% available for like the impacts to our businesses and normal functioning
That is
that we
correct.
have. That was Does anyone else have any questions about any legislation or?
No, it was just good to hear there could be possibly funding. We have overflooding.
Well, thank you. We'll let you get back to it. I know it's hopping over there.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. And we look forward to giving you the full update once the legislature convenes April 8th, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. You all have a great evening. Thank you.
You too.
Great. We'll move on to commissioner reports. I have been at a lot of conferences. So I went to the Maryland Mayors Association conference. We had an advocacy day in Annapolis there. We had a lot of good sessions to, learn about different aspects of legislation and new stuff coming down the line. I also attended National League of Cities conference, and I did that on my own dime because I thought it was worth checking out. I think there was a lot of useful information that really helped me think more about how we can get engaged with federal dollars and also be a little more organized. Attended our PGCMA meetings. That's part of how we get the little years on that plaque over there for Banner City. I attended an economic development meeting. We talked a little bit about just getting some advice from other and actual economic development managers in other municipalities on how to deal with our downtown situation, which is helpful. And I also met with Promise Landing Farm, which is not in the town, but I like to meet with the equestrian areas outside of town because they're a potential tourism draw for town. And they are having an Adaptive Maryland Day in May, so they've invited us all to attend that. And I'll have more information on that later. I've been getting some calls from people about property standards and code compliance periodically, so you'll see we popped that on the agenda for next time. I think all I have that isn't going to be addressed later. Do you guys have anything? Commissioner Brooks, sorry. Commissioner Colbert.
No update
I
at
want
this
to
time.
leave you out.
Well, I just wanted to say that we've been planning and coordinating the cleanup for April 27th.
Yes.
And this weekend we'll be dropping off some flyers at everybody's doors. So hopefully we'll get some more people signing up and some enthusiasm about cleaning up our neighborhood.
Commissioner. How many people do we have signed up already? I feel like we have
There was like
Like
16.
10 or 20, yeah. So, join the party. You don't want to be left out
Yeah.
on April 27th.
And it will be fun, I promise. We'll make sure HR isn't there.
I don't think you're supposed to say that on this.
Right.
Anyway, so we're gonna move on to business. And we're gonna start with a public comment on the town tax rate. This is the second time we're doing this. We'll be doing it one more time. We want to be transparent and give everyone an opportunity to provide comment on the tax rate. This year, the state has changed the way things are done, so we do not need to have actually a hearing if our real property tax rate varies from the residential, or from the real property tax rate varies from the constant yield tax rate. But we still want to share that information with you, be transparent with you, and give you a chance to speak to us about it. So you can see that, actually, as I don't have my glasses with me, I can't see. So Clerk Hotzen, would you mind reading the tax rates for us?
All right, the constant yield tax rate for residential is 0.3604. Your commercial is 0.5504. That is your constant yield tax rate. Now, for your taxes, it's proposed fiscal year 25 rates are as follows. Residential property tax is 38 cents. Commercial property tax is 57 cents. Business personal property is 55 cents. Public utility tax is 55 cents. No, public utility is $2. The vacant property tax is $1.50, and your agricultural use is 25 cents.
And so thank you very much for reading those. And so the rates that we have are not increasing from last year. They're the same real property tax rate as last year for proposed for fiscal year 25. So that said, I think the board might want to talk about that vacant property tax rate, potentially increasing that. We've seen some turnover, but we haven't seen as much as I think we were hoping to see with that. However, let's open it up to the public. If anyone would like to provide comment on the tax rates, if you are online, please raise your hand, and Clerk Hotzen will get you. If you're in public, you can come up to the podium. Are there any hands raised online?
There is nobody with raised hands online.
Okay. Well, if you missed being able to talk about it tonight, we will do this one more time in May before the budget is adopted. Do the commissioners have anything they want to say about, do you guys think the vacant property is worth looking at again to try and get more occupancy downtown?
Always.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only one I would want to touch. Other than that, I don't think we should adopt the concept. We need to keep it where it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right, then. Commissioner Colbert, do you have anything?
No, I agree with taking another look at the vacant property tax and understanding what we've gotten so far and what might be needed to push those vacant properties further.
Sarah, we would, like, do we know how many vacant properties there are? Do
So-
we have that data?
Right, so we do, annually, we do a review of it. That was done last year. It was done by former town administrator Kyle Snyder because he just knew the town. We are working to have our new code compliance officer update that list and get the numbers ready. For
So
us.
we'll have an idea of how many properties there are versus how many are occupied and then are vacant.
Right, so we send them letters telling them that they're vacant. That gives them an opportunity to say, hey, we're not vacant. And it does bring up a loophole that we discovered, which is that some property owners have registered businesses to the address that aren't actually occupying the space. So that kind of defeats the purpose, right? Because the purpose is to make sure that the properties are being maintained and they're adding to the vibrancy and economic development downtown.
Isn't that kind of like more? I don't know.
But I mentioned this to the town attorney, and they're going to work to close that loophole, because the purpose of this is to ensure that downtown is vibrant, active,
Right.
well-maintained, and we have lots of places to hang out. All right. So if there's nothing else on that, we will move on to B, FY 2025 draft updated budget. I am getting closer to it being balanced. Part of, just so everyone is aware, part of how I did that was that I so Public Works and General Government cannot hire any new positions. Any open positions are closed, can't hire. I did not do that with police because of safety reasons. But I did not add any new positions to police, only keeping existing ones filled. So I just want to point that out to everyone. Per some sort of comments that have come in on the side of, like, we want to see this, we want to see that, there is an increase in the commissioner expenses amount. What else there was something else. We were discussing. I don't know, I can't remember. I'll remember it for a work session when we go through more line by line. But someone had said, I think we should do this. But does anyone have any questions that, I know we get into more discussion during work sessions, but does anyone have anything that's come up since then? I know you guys are good about emailing me if you have a thought about it. Helpful.
I mean, I think any questions I have, I can shelf it for the work session, just like, how would that affect Darnell? Was he planning on hiring more people? Is he okay with,
He's not happy. We're not happy about how the budget situation this year, and
yeah.
they'll nod their heads, Chief and Darnell will nod their heads when I say this, is I said, that it was probably going to be rough this year. And it is rough this year. But we will get it balanced. One of the things we're actually looking to do is see what savings we can make in this fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can kind of come in under budget, then at least it's technically a transfer from reserve, but at least it's not diminishing reserves.
Mm-hmm.
Because, taking from last year's into this year's. There's a couple of other, with increasing the vacant property tax rate and trying to get property standards so that downtown properties are actually better maintaining, there's possibly some income that will come in through that, but it's not really a source of income we want to count on. We want people to actually just maintain their property. So that's for next year's budget. I know we have things to talk about and adjusting this year. Commissioner Lott, are you good? Commissioner Colbert, you're good?
I'm good, thank you.
All right. If any of the public would like to comment on the budget at this time, you can comment on anything you would like to about the budget. Things you think we should be prioritizing, tax rates if you missed the last window, anything that has to do with the budget. Do we have anyone, John?
Nobody has their hand raised.
All right. We will move on to Resolution 2024-07, Pratt Street address change. And Clerk Coatson, I am actually going to let you go over this again. We talked about it in the work session.
Hang on just one second. I'm just trying to get our slides back up where they need.
Slides.
All right, can you see it on screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, this is resolution 2024-07, session regular town meeting, dated March 26, 2024. A resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Town of Upper Marlboro consenting to a request of the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission to change the address of 14806 Pratt Street to 14800 Pratt Street. The town was contacted by MNC PPC to make the change. It was discussed in the last work session on March the 12th. We have now put forth resolution to make this official through legislation, and that is what is here before you this evening.
Is there any discussion or questions on the board?
No, I just remember we brought it up the last time.
Mhm.
We're trying to figure out why, but we never got a clear answer why we were changing it, just making sure it was legitimate.
Yeah, I think it got changed and no one asked us, so we were appreciative that they asked us this time. Does staff have any concerns? All right. Commissioner Colbert, just want to make sure I'm not leaving you out.
No concerns. Thank you.
If public has any comments or concerns, please raise your hand or come to the podium.
I have nobody online.
All right. So hearing nothing, is there a motion to approve resolution 2024-07 Pratt Street address change?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Could you call the roll, please, Clerk Hosen?
Will do. President Franklin,
Aye.
Commissioner Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Colbert,
Aye.
Commissioner Lott,
Aye.
Commissioner Pravat.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. We are going to move on to the Church Street RFP. I'm going to ask Director Bond to review that for us. I do want to thank Director Bond and Clerk Hosen for their work in elevating the appearance and substance of our RFP. You'll see that in your packet.
So for that, I have to give all kudos to John. Laid out a couple different examples of different municipalities, things we should consider putting into the RFP. Pretty much the actual RFP itself didn't change very much. It's a little more concise on how to submit, but what I really want to draw attention to that John added was the proposal submission. And the letter of interest, the references and contact information for similar projects, resumes of the staff assigned to the project and their previous work experience. Statement that the firm is registered in the state of Maryland. It pretty much just added quite a bit of checks and balances so we don't find out things, after the fact. The evaluation criteria, the firm's experience, their project personnel, and the completion schedule. Also, the stating in the RFP for proposals to remain valid for a period of not less than 90 days, allow for the evaluation of the award. Those were the main things that I really wanted to highlight. But as far as the RFP itself, this is for the design, not the construction, the integration of electrical and lighting, pole mounted lighting, solar lighting, stormwater management in regards to the watershed that is nearby, paving, maximizing the spaces within the parking lot, and the integration of a solar canopy.
Commissioner Brooks, you look like you have a question.
I'm gathering it all.
Any questions?
Some information.
Yeah, I think it's,
Updated the presentation, which is really nice.
yes, it looks really nice. And then I also think that, kind of discussed internally, instead of putting out an RFP for work to be done that really needs to be designed, we need to start getting designs and plans so that we get better.
We definitely just
Like, I only have like one small feedback,
Mm-hmm.
which is like request for design proposal, or just like somehow
In the
bold
title.
the design. I don't want it to get lost in translation, like this is not, we're not ready to hire for the build.
Mhm.
I know it says design proposal.
And it says, yeah, in the first one.
Probably in scope of work, I think that would go in scope of work. Does that sound? Say, below are the list of the improvements, but the scope of work is actually the
What you're
design,
bidding, is
not,
what you're bidding on,
right.
scope.
So,
So in the
Hold on,
scope,
let me
it should be very clear as to what we're looking for in the scope.
the design of the parking lot for the below list of improvements that the town wishes to make. The Church Street parking lot. Does that address that?
Not really,
Okay.
because the scope of work should include all of these things
Yes.
that we're looking for. So
Right, so maybe what is.
just take out that
it's
other
supposed to-
stuff below is the list, put scope of work, and then you have it all bullet pointed, so it,
Yeah, I think it's a structural thing,
yeah,
where these shouldn't be underlined. Three-phase elements of the project.
I mean, they could be underlined, I just think that,
I'm trying to see if it's in a state that I can actually phrase a motion that allows us to incorporate the changes in the motion
okay,
and pass it tonight. So I want to make sure stormwater. Let me try this one and then you tell me how I'm doing, okay? Scope of work, design of the parking lot for the below list of improvements that the town wishes to make to the Church Street parking lot. There are three-phase elements of the project, electrical and lighting, stormwater management, and paving. Town wishes to pursue a one-dig policy for the work on the lot. And then go into these items below.
It could just be like within the design.
it
please
just has to
include
be a
the
flow.
below-
Right.
So within the design, please include the below list of improvements
Mhm.
the town wishes to make to the Church Street parking lot. So,
It's a different.
It's just flowing better now. Yeah, it has to have a, flow to it.
Yeah.
within the
I think we're
design,
saying the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather see.
please include the below list
Hold
of
on. Yep.
improvements.
Let's give Commissioner Brooks, because he had a question, so I want to.
Sorry,
No,
No, I'm just reading here where they have to be submitted by April 26th, RFP, okay.
we can change the date. Sometimes we've not gotten RFPs
Mhm.
back and just
Exactly.
extended it.
That should definitely.
So after we get the RFP back,
So the process is usually the submissions come in, they go to the staff that has the expertise to review them first, and in this case, that's Director Bond and his team. They review them, they will, provide a breakdown in the different costs of each one, and then they also, a lot of times there's differences, so we don't always go with the lowest bid, we go with the bid that's the best for the town. And that's sort of the expert analysis that they provide. So if everything comes in on April 26th, then in May, at the work session?
On those dates.
So I think the work session is May 16th, and they'll give that presentation at the work session. Alternately, if only 1 or 2 proposals come in and they would like more on May 16th, they'll request we extend the deadline. And we don't do that through like a big official vote. We just say, yes, extend the deadline, and then they'll go and do that. Actually, they'll request to extend the deadline at the April meeting before that one. Then they give us that analysis. We just take it home and digest it. We meet in closed session prior to the next town meeting to discuss the contracts, because it is better for our negotiating, and we don't want to say, if there's a negative aspect of anything in public. And then when we come out of that, we tend to be either in agreement or close to agreement, or in agreement that we're not ready to vote. And so we'll either vote then or decide to postpone the vote.
Okay.
Did I do okay explaining that?
And I want to say, second to Mr. Bond, that this was put together really well by John Holston. That this was really good. Laid it out very well.
Yeah. So let's take public comment. First, sorry.
That's okay. So, the due date is April 26th, so you want to get at least 30 days. So we probably won't be able to post this until tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Want to move it to the 27th, just to make sure there's the 30 days.
Mm-hmm. All right. I am going to try this motion. If you disagree with how I say it, just don't second it, and then I'll try again.
We have public comment.
Oh, has anyone, we have public comment?
We do.
Yes, go ahead.
Patty?
Hi, yeah, I just have a question. What is a rain garden and what is its purpose?
So do you want to answer that, Director Bond, or do you want me to? Okay. So a rain garden is a stormwater, it is a non-structural, well, a mix of structural and non-structural stormwater management systems. Depending on the amount of stormwater that you want to manage, you will dig out a portion of the ground. You will backfill that with a various layers of rock, sand, gravel in different sizes. And then on top of that, you'll put dirt and mulch, and it usually is sunken into the ground to direct stormwater into it. And then you plant. Usually it's nice to plant like pollinator stuff, so you get 2 uses out of the garden. It's beautiful. You plant plants and all of that helps hold, retain, and improve the water quality of stormwater without having it just sit there and being an attraction for mosquitoes, etc. While we're talking about them, plug for the Prince George's County Rain Check Rebate Program, where if you are a homeowner and you want to install one in your yard, you can actually get half of it. I think it's not even reimbursed anymore, but paid upfront once you secure the items. Prince George's County's Rain Check Rebate Program will, if you're a homeowner and you want to install a rain garden, they will provide half of the funding. It used to be a rebate program, but I believe this year they have changed it into a program where you can receive the money as soon as you have the quote and if you're using a contractor. So.
Also can't like DIY.
You can, I think you can DIY it, but I think it's still a rebate if you DIY it. I don't know the details. It's called Rain Check Rebate is the whole program. There's multiple things you can use, like you can do, what else? Rain barrels. There's a variety of different non-structural.
I think it's important to note, I'm not sure if she can hear me, that's why I told her first. The purpose of the rain garden is to filter the water and to allow it to run rather than a stormwater system.
Right.
There's a mechanism inside where there's a pipe that sort of doesn't allow the rain garden to overflow. If it gets to a certain level, then yes, it will take the overflow and kick it into the stormwater system. But the idea is for it to be soaked back into the.
So just so you know, my concern was more of, we already have so many mosquitoes with the swamp. I just wanted to make sure we weren't going to be attracting any more mosquitoes.
Oh, it won't be standing water, so.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was worried about. Thank you.
They're designed to filter out the standing water in front of
Administrator Richardson.
So back to the date.
Yes.
27th is a Saturday, so that won't work. Would have to be April 29th then.
30, April 30th. 29th. Oh. Is the 27th is a Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Got it. Okay, anything else? Anyone with their hand raised, Clerk Hosen?
No, no one else with their hand.
Is there a motion to approve the Church Street RFP with the following 2 changes? 1, the scope of work shall read, design of the parking lot for the below list of improvements the town wishes to make to the Church Street parking lot. Period. Within the designs, there are 3 phased elements to the project, electrical and lighting, stormwater management, and paving, period. The town wishes to pursue a 1-dig policy for the work on the lot. Change number 2 is that the deadline will be April 29th.
Second.
So Commissioner Pravat has made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Good.
I second.
Commissioner Brooks has seconded. Clerk Hotzen, would you call the roll?
Will do. President Franklin,
Aye.
Commissioner Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Colbert,
Aye.
Commissioner Lott,
Aye.
Commissioner Pravat.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right. We will move on to Commissioner Training. I'm just gonna explain why I brought this to everyone here, is that last year during our budget work sessions, the board as a whole decided to cut the Commissioner Training budget to what it is today. This is not enough to send everyone to the training conference this summer, and it has been requested that we allocate some unspent funds to this. I am fine doing that, but since the board decided to reduce that amount, I want the board to be able to make that decision together to increase it. Everyone has in front of them a list of, we're just going to talk about, we're not going to talk about the hotels themselves, but options. I went through the budget under general government, and because we were without a town administrator for 6 months, there is unspent salaries. So there is enough money to send everyone to the conference. And I just want to make sure we're all okay with that. Do we want specifics? They're on the computer.
So you're saying that there is money, okay, I just want to be clear that there is money, we don't have to come out of our pocket?
Right.
Okay.
And I
Not
think the
making sure.
reason,
I'm
sorry, I just, the reason why we cut it last year is because we had ARPA E funds. And so in trying to manage and budget, balance the budget, we had money coming from somewhere else that we don't have anymore. We've, used all the ARPA E funds. So that is the reason why we decreased the budget, because we had funding from another source.
Okay.
And now that that source is dried up, we, and I was talking to, Mayor about it, we need to put the monies back to make sure everyone is going to
But I
get
think-
training.
I think I agree with you in your email was that, training shouldn't be coming out of, the individual commissioner's pocket.
Let me see if I can.
And that's why
Kinda.
I like that you have made that, no, I don't need to see.
Okay.
Like,
You know I have a spreadsheet.
yeah.
I'm gonna try to, like, bring together kind of the thought process behind this, in a cohesive way, and then you guys jump in if you wanna add anything. Commissioners are functionally volunteers, even the mayor position. We do get stipends, but if you calculate that out on hours, it's not worth even doing. We are not trained in how to be a commissioner. The Maryland Municipal League offers 2 conferences per year where they offer training, how to be a commissioner, how to do budgeting, what Open Meetings Act is, all of that. And that is valuable to the residents of this town because it makes us better commissioners. It makes us better able to do our job and understand what we're doing and provide you with a higher quality of leadership. So that is why this is a valuable thing. And, because the salaries it doesn't seem fair to say, hey, you're volunteering your time, we're giving you a little bit of money, and now we want you to spend that money to go learn how to do the job. So that's how to do that.
You said it right.
All right.
You said it right.
I think it's very valuable to all of us. Knowledge outside of the scope is knowledge.
Yes. And they really are valuable conferences. Even I initially was on the fence because I have a degree in urban planning, but in going, definitely valuable getting your, we get a certification in the Academy of Excellence for local government, and we will take public comment on this.
I don't see any hands raised.
Well, I thought I saw Patty right there.
No.
That's from the previous.
Okay, accountability,
If you want to make a comment, you
Yeah.
can come to the podium, just say your name and
Yeah.
your address, or not address, but street.
okay. Leon Miller, Asher Street, 33. Accountability, credibility, and efficiency. I think that is the core of these courses, and the mayor is 100% right. The quality of leadership through just enhancing through the courses really serve the, 2 cents. I'm sorry. I didn't-
You're fine. Thank you. All right, so I just want to make sure I'm getting, is there a motion to approve reallocation of funds to cover commissioner expenses to MML,
So moved.
Maryland Municipal League Conference in the fall, or summer?
So moved.
I second.
Clerk Hotzen, would you call that roll, please?
Will do. President Franklin,
Aye.
Commissioner Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Colbert,
Aye.
Commissioner Lott,
Aye.
Commissioner Pravat.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Yep. All right, we're gonna go on to the next item, which is sponsorship packages. It's a board discussion. And another, Clerk Hotzen making us look good, and so I am going to turn it over to him.
Thank you, President Franklin. These are sponsorship packages that have been designed for Marlboro Day. So as you see in front of you, a one sheet that has been prepared that we can send out to potential people that would like to purchase a package. We've got 3 packages that we present. One is the Kid Zone package, which is and it basically explains what they get for the value. The center one, of course, is an event sponsor, and the third one is a program sponsor. The Kid Zone sponsor is $500, the event sponsor is $1,500, and the program sponsor is $250. The program sponsor, of course, will have a program that day. We'll design it with their ads in the program to promote the event, and a nice keepsake of Marlboro Day. Now, the second sheet you see that we prepared is, of course, our event calendar. And then we have 3 events at the bottom. And the idea is that we also we can develop, sponsorship packages for those main events that we do host in the town. So you've got Marlboro Day, Trunk or Treat, and Christmas Town. So those are 3 events that we can provide sponsorship packages in hopes of obtaining revenue for the town. And then the mayor, President Franklin, also had discussed doing some sort of swag where they can pay to put an item of swag into a bag, and that's another opportunity for us to do a sponsorship, and that's another thing that we can provide to people that want to support the town.
This is exactly what I was requesting, right? And what I wanted, but for example, this right here,
Yes.
there would be one option
Right.
for each event. So there should be 3 total. And then this,
One option.
so
Yeah, so this
one spot for each event, so there should be 3 total spots available, because there are 3 events. And then this one here should not match, like this 24 inches by 36 inches, like this should be half the size of that, because this is,
Right.
A lot more expensive than that. So we're not trying to give it the same clout.
Right.
We tweaked. But
Yeah, this is why we're discussing
these are just like the little, obviously, I'm excited to see this.
Yeah.
Because this,
But
this
those
is what
are
I
the
wanted.
details.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing with what I think is the difference is maybe we want this is the Marlboro Day specific sponsorship, but I think, Clerk Hosen, if I can kind of say, I think what Commissioner Pravat is saying is, can we have one that says, Upper Marlboro Town event, all year sponsorship, that puts all 3 events into one flyer, but also having individual event flyers.
Yeah, which one do you want to put your 1,500 towards? Do you want it towards Marlboro Day, or do you want it towards Trunk or Treat, or do you want?
So should we have 3 flyers? Because this is the Marlboro Day flyer. Do we just have Clerk Hosen kind of change the title on
I
each
just
of
want to
them?
do it, well, like, I didn't envision it specific for one event, but
Right.
if it's for one event, that's fine with me too. I don't care. But,
I see what you're saying. Do we want to ask one? Yes.
I would just ask for one donation,
And then,
since this is our first time doing it.
that
And
makes
then
sense.
go from there
Okay.
and see how many sponsorships we get. But I would ask everywhere, outside of Upper Marlboro, big box stores. I would ask Bill Gates, like anybody and everything.
Okay, so I think I understand, and so Clerk Host and I will work on this, and then next time we'll bring a revised version.
Okay. I'm so happy. Thank you. And I saw your hand raised.
Any
Okay.
other questions?
No.
Okay. Sorry, Commissioner Colbert, how about you on the last one? You're okay still?
Yes, I'm fine. No additional questions. I think Commissioner Pravat laid it out pretty nicely.
All right. Any public comment?
No one online with hands raised.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna move on to an annexation update. So I am obviously negotiating with people for the annexation, trying to get agreements so that we can get the consents that we need in order to move forward with annexation. One of the property owners that I have been talking with is the owners of Total Civil Construction. One of the things they are asking us for is the support in moving, changing the zoning on one of their lots. So they own and operate industrial uses at the end of Buck Lane along the railroad track, to the west of the railroad track. They own a property to the north of that is currently zoned for residential. And so you're gonna be in the red triangle, or yeah. So they own the gray ones right now. Well, they own everything in that block. The green area is residential. This is low-density residential that happens on well and septic, big lots, trees get cleared, yeah. So they would like to rezone that to industrial so that they can expand their industrial operations. This will provide jobs to the area. And so that is one of their asks in the annexation agreement. And there is a lot kind of going on. People are asking me, what do you think about civil construction? What's your position? And I don't take positions without this board. And that is what I have told people.
Where are we? Okay, so.
That's 202, the big road is, sorry, that's, yeah, no, yes, no, that's the railroad track, yep,
Oh, this is the.
yep.
Okay.
And that one you were going down before is 202.
Okay.
So, the other piece you have is their general concept plan, and we're agreeing like, hey, we're okay with your concept plan as long as it's, fits, with zoning. Now, the first thing I said when I saw this was like, those are big buildings. They have an actual flyover that shows you, because of the terrain here, even though there's big buildings, you won't see much of them from the road, because of them being sunken a little bit. I am not, the agreements that we have right now, which is not complete, we're still back and forth on it, does not give up our right to negotiate for open space, trails, facade, screening, sound barriers, any of that. It doesn't give up our right to report them to MDE should they be violating anything. So it's basically just saying we'll support you in having this use changed.
I don't have any issues with it, especially if it's gonna promote jobs in the town and the community. The only issue I had is having a clear understanding of what they're doing in those factories. And is it gonna bring any pollution to the town, to our air quality? What kind of chemicals they,
Right.
I just need to know those type of things, because I think that that's important more so than the job, because in a couple of years, we don't want to end up people sick.
Right.
Because we don't know what they were actually doing.
So, when they first sent over the list of industrial uses they wanted to use, I got together with Director Bond and said, let's go through this list and see what's okay with us and what's not okay with us. We sent over a list. They came back and said, hey, we're already doing 3 of these things on the lot, so we can't take them off, or we won't be able, we'll be out. So we put those back on, but Director Bond, do you want to, talk about your process?
Are we bringing before you do that, are we bringing a hygienist in to test the air quality, to just make sure what they're doing now is not causing a problem, Because we putting it back on the list, so we're approving that, but we need to do.
They're actually gonna stop doing what?
Okay. Whatever it is that they're doing,
Sorry.
yeah, what are they doing? Well, go ahead, Director Bond.
Director Bond is the expert here, so we're gonna turn to him.
Well, not necessarily as far as the things that were on the list. Of course, we pretty much knocked off anything that's noxious, heavy smell, pollution, things of that nature. I'm not exactly sure which 3 things that they said that they are currently doing. However, from that direction, we don't necessarily get the air quality issues and things that we normally report around here. So I don't really see it as an issue, and the county would be expecting that as they move forward anyhow, so.
Well, I'm saying if we're signing off on it, I think it's worth
We do need to know.
a shot. We need to know what and how, whatever if it's already done some damages for, to come.
Sorry, I think very valid point. I didn't even think of that. What is there now? Is there like a shack?
So, yeah, pretty much. So underneath the linear building, you'll see, it is, I think, former county headquarters or public, it's some old county building.
It's a larger building on the Upper Main side of it. I think on the other side of it is like the actual, like they store, like
Yeah, they don't
dump
have
trucks
that,
and, things like that. I'm not sure what they actually manufacturing. It's pretty much a construction company.
So, and what they do right now is they do like concrete recycling. That was one that we had removed. They're doing concrete recycling now. So they can't agree to not do concrete recycling can't agree to stop their operation.
So my thing is, if you go out towards that direction, it already doesn't look great, right?
Right.
It looks pretty, gosh.
Yes.
So I'm not against this agreement, but there would have to be some really high standards in terms of building. Because, just because there's terrain around this.
Right.
What does that mean in the future when development starts happening around here? 'Cause that might happen. And they start knocking down these trees and exposing these ugly buildings that they decided to build back there.
So, yes, so I think, because there's two separate things, right? There's the agreement where we agree, we support that you get to rezone to industrial. That's all we're agreeing to. We're not agreeing to.
But do we have a say? They're rezoning to industrial, we're opening the can of worms to say that you can do this.
Because they have a plan.
What is this, so this isn't really, this is a concept plan. So a plan of what the buildings will look like, how they will be, a traffic study, an air quality study, all of these things are required for them to they have to put forth an actual, here is our real development plan, here's what the buildings will look like, here's how everything will be laid out, here are the measures we will add to Route 202 to handle traffic, here is how traffic will flow on this lot, parking, stormwater management, all of that, they have to submit that to the county.
So I just,
So that's totally separate.
my biggest concern
Right.
is that the county hasn't been on our side. So if we lose control and we give them the okay, and we say, you can have this, go ahead and make it industrial, then they go and ask the county for X, Y, Z, and the county just says yes, and they don't take our consideration in the future for their business.
So the reason
The
that
permitting process.
the reason that the county has not taken our consideration on development is because we have not provided them with our consideration on development. So this town has not engaged with MNCPPC. We have not engaged with site plans as they come in. We have not gone before them to tell them what we think about it. They always send us a letter. Anytime there's development in the 1 mile area radius around, we get a letter. The leadership of this town has chosen not to say anything in the past. So, yes, we could pass up this agreement, and they still might get it rezoned. And then we only have, they're in the 1 mile radius, they're not in town anymore, right? When they're in town, we have even more say. But if we don't use our voice, then
You
then
lose
we
the
get,
opportunity,
we
Carmen.
lose the opportunity. So it's not that the county
It's a
hasn't,
double-edged sword here.
right, the county has not excluded us. They have actively included us, and we have said, thank you, we'll pass. And I think there's nothing we can do to be sure that when this comes out to an actual site plan and we have the opportunity to, and these people are doing all sorts of town hall meetings. Like, if they're get to site plan, we say, we want you to come to our town meeting, you want you to present it to us, we want you to hear our comments
So
and the
we are
public
trying
comments.
to annex it.
Right,
As part of the town,
right.
but they want us to say,
That it can be
Then the-
industrial instead of residential. That's all we're,
got it.
so we're not agreeing to what it looks like, and we're not giving up our right
I
to
just
negotiate.
want to make sure
what it
that
looks
we
like.
have
Yeah.
the right to say what they cannot do as far as
Yeah,
they want to
that's
do
what I'm afraid of.
chemicals and pollution and
I
all
don't
that
wanna
stuff.
lose-
I want to have that voice.
Right, so we are not giving up our right to negotiate the planning and design for this. We are agreeing to certain industrial uses.
But are we doing that before we get
The industrial uses, that's gonna be part of this agreement, and I
Okay.
can send you guys the list. The thing is that pollution, all of that, it's not supposed to exist, right? So one of the things that I asked for in the agreement is to make clear, we are not giving up our right, to go over there and look at it and
Shut
call
them down.
MDE. Well, we don't have the right to shut them down right now because that's how we don't have that in our code.
But can we put that in our contract?
We have to have it in our code. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we have to have the authority in.
Well, then they
So-
wouldn't allow us to annex.
Okay.
Right.
We can
So
go
what-
back up, we can
Right.
go back. But then they wouldn't sign the annexation. No, I'm just asking questions.
Right, we have to have the authority to do specific things. But what, we could go over there right now, one of you could go over there right now, look at the use, say, I think this is polluting, call the state, and the state would come inspect it,
Okay,
right now. if you
okay,
want to.
okay.
So, but even though we're always allowed to do that, because I hear this concern, I actually asked to put it in the contract. I said, I know we by right are allowed to do this, but can we please put it in the contract anyway, so that it's clear to everyone on the board that we are not giving up that right when we vote on it.
Is there a timeline we're giving them to the things you just discussed about to update?
Right.
Present their stuff.
Yeah, because
So, well, so we talked about, I think we haven't discussed anything I haven't already asked them, have had the lawyers, the lawyers are working out an agreement that will hopefully come back ready for us to sign. We can execute that agreement on April the 9th. That is a work session, but as long as we announce now that we plan to vote at that work session, as long as we allow public comment, and as long as we advertise that we plan to vote at that work session, we can do that. One of the reasons I would like to do this sooner rather than later is that things are starting to progress. And because this is important to us getting the annexation, because it adds value to the town, if I am not able to provide the support when they need it, then we may lose the agreement. Does everyone follow that?
Yep.
So that is why I would like to, so we just need to, we're not supposed to do that.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
So that is why I would like to vote on it on April 9th. Possible. The thing I think that I don't have the answer to that you guys wanted the answer to was what is it they're doing there now, which I can certainly ask. Was there anything else? Yeah.
Sorry, I lost some of the conversation there with some of the crowd. I think Commissioner getting to this earlier. Has there been any type of environmental impact study or anything that we could ask them to provide to us on some type of regular basis of the, they don't want to tell us what the activities are, at least tell us how your activities are impacting the environment. Is that a provision we might consider including in such an agreement?
They're willing to tell us what the activities are.
But that's key.
So do they, I think, and Director Bond or Administrator Richardson, correct me if I'm wrong, but that they have to provide reports to MDE on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Those are on a public portal through MDE. We can check them at any time.
Okay.
So,
Sarah, are you allowed to tell us what the business name is?
Total Civil Construction. Yeah.
Any conservation fee, amount of scrutiny that you guys put on this playground that we're trying to get this year. Adding the.
3 years.
Yeah, adding the level, adding MDE to the mix. They're definitely gonna have a lot of rules and checkpoints and milestones.
Yeah, they're gonna have to follow a lot of regulations and stuff like that.
Right.
Okay.
And that's a public access, and I really did mean to try to find that public access and create a link to it online, because it also, the landfill has to provide reports, and those are online. So that's something that once our new website gets out and functioning, we can look at adding to one of the pages on it. Does that answer your concern, Commissioner Colbert?
It does. If they have requirements above us to be able to provide that type of documentation. My main concern, or my main train of thought in that, is if we at least have insight into what the environmental impacts are there things that we can do as a town, things that we can implement to make sure that they're offsetting some of those environmental impacts. But I want to be able to see what those are, or how they're projected, and if they have the requirements to report that at a higher level than us, then that satisfies that concern.
Yeah, so I think this comes into this thought process of two pieces, right? There's the annexation and what they're asking us for the annexation, and then there's the ultimate site plan and development.
Yep.
And all of the concerns that are coming up right now are relevant to the ultimate site plan and development.
Mm-hmm.
Have them on a residential development too, right? Because there are massive environmental impacts to septic systems. But so I think it is what we do now, but also the diligence and attention of either us, if we're on the board when this comes through, or future boards, to, when the county sends a notice saying this site plan is happening in your area of interest, we respond. We're thoughtful about what we want. And we go to, I have been to multiple hearings at MNC-PPC on development that is happening outside the town, to say, here is the town's interest in it. And when I present what our interest is, we say, always have to say you understand they're allowed to do their development and they have rights in zoning, because they do. And then you say, we would like to see X, Y, Z things improved. And I have had very positive response from the county and from MNC-PPC to say, very good point. We're going to ask them to incorporate that, or we're going to ask them to change that, or we're not allowed to ask them to change that, but we're going to suggest they do anyway. So I have had great collaboration with the county on this. I just want to make that really clear. That's kind of incumbent on the town's leadership to do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this new site, is it in addition to the existing site or in place of?
It's in addition to the existing site that will allow them to create a larger building so that they can operate inside this larger building.
And how many jobs will it create?
The number that got thrown out at one point was around 150, but Lee has more information. He's saying he's heard 400. So I don't have that number. I don't know that they know again, but I can ask them for an estimate of jobs.
So, like, these buildings are just about 600 square feet. That's humongous.
It is.
And so the thing is, that's a lot of people. Are those people that are going to be working there, how much are they getting paid? Are they transient workers? Are they coming in and out? Are they established people? Do they live here? What's that doing to the traffic?
Yeah, I was gonna ask all that.
The roads, like what's going to
Are
happen
they
to that?
full-time, are they
The
part-time?
pollution, the wildlife, there is turkey, deer, there's a
Right.
lot of stuff out here, so, like, I just think there's so much more than just like,
And so we're coming back to site plan development and details. And one of the things, like, that's okay, when we get to there, when we're looking at, so there's a couple of properties that have site plans around that aren't approved, we can look through to kind of talk over that. And catch me if I'm jargony, because this is what I do. And so stop me. But one of the things with big buildings like this is that we are not giving up the right to negotiate this. We can say, on the street facing side, we would like you to put a facade that makes it look like it's a series of smaller buildings, or that steps in height. These are totally reasonable things planners ask developers to do all the time, and they do them. We can also say, we want you to just add additional tree screening, and we want that tree screening to be deed protected so that you can't come back and take it down. We can ask for that. We can also say, hey, part of your approval is that we would like to negotiate for how many of those jobs are local jobs. And these are things that MNCPBC does, so we tell them what we want and they negotiate what they can. And then the other piece of that is in talking to them about the jobs, it is a range of jobs. So it's going to be from hiring, someone with very little experience who's going to be an apprentice, and they're going to have the opportunity to work themselves up to a high-paying job in our community. Obviously, there's not all of the jobs are high-paying, but if you work yourself up, you can. Okay. I know it's nerve-wracking because.
It's very different. I'm like, oh,
it's a big project.
major. I just want to make sure before we agree to anything, we get all the commissioners, we get all the feedback and all the answers that we're asking.
Yeah,
Because I don't want to take on something that.
Let me think about this. We would have to have it be a public meeting. I will talk to them about it. The only thing I will keep focused on is
We need to get this done.
we need to get this, we need to move forward, and we're not agreeing to anything on a site plan.
Right.
We're not even agreeing to support their site plan. We're agreeing to support something that is generally within this concept plan. We are, you'll see there's specific things, like I was like, I want it clear, we're not giving up the right to request trails, to request more stormwater management, to request cleaning. All those things are in there.
Okay.
So I think it's the difference between site plan and just zone. This is just flat out zoning. When they are in site plan phase, the developers, when they're in your town, you can say to them, and especially if we create our own permitting process, which is something we need to look into, in order to get a permit from the town, you need to come here. You need to show us our site plan. You need to listen to our residents' concerns. You need to listen to our concerns. And then we need to talk about changes, if there's changes to make. That is really common. And I doubt that we will be commissioners when this plan comes before. And that's why it's really incumbent on future leadership to show the leadership to do these things. we will take public comment on this topic.
I have one hand raised, Brian Calicott.
Okay.
Brian? Brian?
Hi, can you hear me without echo?
Yep, I can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
I hear you.
You can't hear us, Brian, but we can hear you.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Did you want to make a comment, Brian?
Yes?
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I do like the idea that we support the fellow with the industrial zone section in terms of expanding within the industrial zone. I very much do not like the taking of 33 acres of woodland designated by the county planning as residential estate, because this 33 acres of woodland is right next to Collington Branch across the railroad tracks. 33 acres of woodland cut down and used for industrial is much different than if it was used for its original intended purpose of residential estate, where you would have approximately 30 houses there, which would have people who could pay taxes should they be annexed. But it runoff wise is far cry different when you look at all industrial versus residential uses. I am a canoeist. I go down the Western Branch. I see the pollution runoff. I also see the flooding events. 33 acres. If you go look at that site, and please, if you want me to come over and give you the site plans, because I did attend a meeting with Sarah, would be, in my opinion, quite disruptive of the wetlands and the flooding. Additionally, the guy does have enough room to build on his site. He just bought this extra land as residential estate 2 years ago and is asking for a special zoning exemption, something which is unusual, goes against the county plan. And I'd like you to take that in consideration, why someone would do that. The stalls that you were talking about are not going to necessarily house people. The people will have their jobs out of there, but they are instead housing large numbers of big vehicles moving across our roads, which would cause damage and cause traffic and potentially accidents. We're talking about hundreds of trailer stalls and car stalls in the two proposed buildings, and I have the exact numbers as well. No one is right now proposing improvements to 202, 301, or 725, which would deal with the increased traffic of those stalls. Think about those hundreds of numbers I just mentioned. All of those would have outflow onto 202 and probably 725 to 301 and possibly through town. I implore you at least to not speak in favor of the 33-acre parcel rezoning. Thank you.
I just want to clarify that things like traffic
And environmental impacts, that's going to be in the site plan development and approval. And I do want to, so again, it's a site plan question. And then the environmental impact between industrial and residential and state is actually worth looking at, because residential estates are on well and septic put a high level of nitrogen into the environment. So those are debatable things, and I just want to clarify that. But we need to think about it, we need to consider it, we need to see the agreement. But I think asking for environmental impacts of things that aren't planned, we can't do that. We would have to give up this piece of the annexation. And then also, we have a say in a site plan, right? This could still get rezoned through the county, without our support.
Right. He said something about it being like, unusual.
Right, so,
Yes.
well, so the way that, there's multiple ways they're trying to get the rezoning. If you are someone who wants a rezoning, you are gonna pick the easiest way first, right? I think we all would. So, my understanding is the easiest way has failed. And that's not, you know, that's not really what we're agreeing to. We're agreeing to, does it make sense to have an industrial use here adjacent to another industrial use to allow that expansion? We'll tell you that right now, there are about 150 trips per day that, of the big dump trucks that he's got going in and out. So, and he's gonna move the operation with the dump trucks out to bring this in. So the problem is there's a lot of factors we don't know about an ultimate development, right? What we're considering is industrial versus residential estate. Yes, everyone pays taxes. Do both of them tear down all those trees? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And property owners have the right to develop on their property. Do both of them have environmental impacts? Absolutely. Do both of them have traffic impacts? Yes. And when you do a development, you have to do a traffic study. And if your traffic study indicates the need for changes in the road, you as a developer have to make those changes.
Do we know why it was rejected?
Because it wasn't the right way to do it. Why they didn't, the easiest way didn't work is because it wasn't the right way to do it. So.
Wait, what does that mean? I don't get it.
Yeah, if I may. I think it would behoove the commission for all of you to take a little field trip and just go over there and go during business hours. Don't let you in. Look at the kind of business citizen they've been so far. Take a good look around, and I think that'll give you a little more clarity on your decision to move forward, because past behavior indicates a great deal of how you're going to move forward. So just go over there and kind of look for yourself. Sarah does have a good point that leadership in the past, the family that originally developed that area, a lot of influence, a lot of power in this town. On Donnell's Chance, on the major filling station there on the road. So leadership always did kind of turn a blind eye and let the Buck family do what he wanted to do. Other entities have come in and bought it since, but they've kind of followed on that tradition. So I just think it would behoove you all to, it wouldn't hurt, take a 20-minute field trip, just go over there and take a good look around. I was just over there a couple of weeks ago, been down there several times. Just think you need to see it for yourself. Thank you.
I have another comment online.
Okay.
Patty?
Hi, so how good of a neighbor are they right now? Have you talked to, or has anybody talked to the people that surround them to find out the impact that it currently has on them and what an expansion like that would be? It's not within the town, but it's, if you're going to annex it, it will be. And you should be doing and listening to the people who you're annexing, how they feel about encroaching a residential area and making it into an industrial park.
So just to clarify, we aren't really annexing any of their existing neighbors that are residential. None of those people are in the annexation. Their neighbors for the most part, they have very few residential neighbors. Their neighbors are industrial. And I would say that their neighbors aren't good neighbors. I've been to some people's houses that are, their backyard is looking at a junked used car lot. That is their view in their backyard. So, and that is not this property owner. That is, I have been over, I've seen things, and it's important for us to recognize that we have the ability to monitor things. One of the biggest things I think, again, go back to leadership, is that it's not in the town, we have no say over it. What we're doing right now is that no one before us ever went into downtown Upper Marlboro and said, you know what, you're not taking care of your property. And we're not gonna allow that anymore. And that's what we're doing right now. And so if these people are in fact a bad neighbor, all the more reason for us to annex them and make them do better and be on top of it. So that's just my 2 cents on that. I'm gonna have us move on because I don't see any more comments. And get to our administrative updates because we have a few that are relevant.
Okay, so I'll go first with community conversations. Now that it's nice, I wanted to get those started back up.
Had been doing them around 10 a.m. on Saturdays, just going to different neighborhoods. I usually like to check with Marlboro Town for permission before I go over there so we can talk about that, Derek. But I like to do them on the second Saturday too, because that's when we have our events. So then at least if we're doing them, it's one day of the month that we're putting aside to go out. Because I don't know what level of involvement you guys want to have, what your thoughts are on time, dates, any of that. That's just what I landed on last year, but we don't have to. And it's up to you if you guys want to. I'm not trying to lock you into participating, but I want to do it.
It's just good to send us a calendar or send us an email so we know about it, and if we can come, we can make things.
Do you have a date in mind?
So if we stick with the second Saturdays, that'll be the 13th, I think, of April would be our first one.
What's your neighborhood?
Yeah, usually the way we'll do
Marlboro Town, Spring Branch, Rectory Lane, and we'll do one on Old Mill, and then if we have enough, I'm just not sure, April, May, June, July. Yeah, then we do something at the playground up here. Did I miss any area? And then we sometimes do them with the businesses as well. Those are usually during the day, during the week though, so I bring staff because that's when the businesses are available. But I guess what I'm asking is something you guys want to participate in, and does picking a different day or time make that more possible, or should I just stick with 10 a.m. on second Saturday?
Stick with it. Just remind us, and hopefully we have an opportunity to come.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good
Yeah.
to be,
To the main point person there, it needs to work with your schedule.
Yeah, I can.
I mean, I'll definitely,
Okay.
so I'll go if it's, I'm already putting it in.
Okay.
I have a dinner date, so.
Yeah. Well, I feel like 10 on Saturdays. Well,
Okay, 10
people
works.
are awake. Commissioner Brooks can attest to the fact that we just wave people down and go, hey, come over here and talk to us. He's nodding. When they're out and about. So we'll work out the schedule and work out which neighborhood we'll be in this area. And I would appreciate your feedback on when we should come to Marlboro Town.
I mean, if we can give people a heads up, like we're coming to your neighborhood on this day, and we can put that out on social media, hopefully we'll get more involvement, because I remember we did it, well, I wasn't the commissioner at the time, we did it. We didn't have a heads up, but it was a few people that came out.
So the tricky part about social media, and the reason we don't post it on social media, is we'll usually post it on social media after the fact, and a bunch of people, oh, I'm so sorry I missed this, and when are you going to do one in Marlboro Writing? Well, I'm not, right? And so what I don't want to happen is that we put it on social media, and then a bunch of people who are not town residents come out to this event that is supposed to be a chance for town residents to talk to us about any issue they want to really get into it with us. It's something residents ask for. I don't want to give that time to people who aren't residents. They can talk to me at Marlboro Day, they can talk to us at other times, you know. So, but next door we can control, and this is also why the VIR list has been really important to us. If you're a resident, please make sure you're on the VIR list. If you don't know what it is, call town hall, because that's how we communicate directly with you. And then I also, if you'll start to notice these A-frame signs go up, and they'll be at the end of your streets. Look at them, see what they say on them. They are turned into the neighborhood because they are trying to communicate directly and specifically with residents. They'll tell you when we're coming for community conversation and where it is. And they go in all the neighborhoods, regardless of which neighborhood we're going to. So if I'm gonna be in Spring Branch and we're all gonna be there, and you live in Marlboro Town, walk on over. We've had Marlboro Town residents show up on Rectory Lane or other places. So this is not that you're not allowed to take that chance to talk to us, just that we want to move around so everyone has us in their community.
So does that help?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's very tricky with,
I mean, we can, you know, you could go to the HOA of our
Yes,
community.
and I usually check with that, and they, I think, send it out in a little,
Yeah, we have a little community thing.
yeah. Okay, I am gonna turn it over to Clerk Hosen to talk to us about the cable access channel, which was a goal for next fiscal year, but we will be able to meet this fiscal year.
Well, good evening. Just in front of you, we have estimates. We have had a meeting with our production company that handles our cable access channel. And we have asked about how we can improve our town meetings. The recommendation from Mr. Gray is that we go ahead and we can purchase additional items. And the plan would be we would have the equipment brought over to my office. We make this command central for our town meetings. We have the microphones already, and the Zoom does interface with the cable access channel. So then we can provide the town meetings on the cable access channel, as well as we'll be able to use Zoom and our slides, and everything should be seamless. And then we also talked about beefing up our camera. There is part of the quote does include a robotic camera that would allow us to zoom in and out when people speak. We're able to program the camera to automatically perform several functions. And I think that's going to be a way that we can elevate the town meetings to make them a little more attractive and so that people can hear them. And I think things will be a lot better. So the cost involved in it to do all this is $3,782.
And I went through again that unspent salaries, again, trying to reserve some of that to come over, but we do have the funds to do this and still have unspent salaries at the end of the year. I know this was a goal we talked about. So if I can approve this because it's under $10,000, but I wanted us to see this together and agree to it together. So is everyone comfortable with us reallocating money in this way?
Yes.
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 All right. So we'll go forward with that. Commissioner Colbert, are you okay?
Yes,
with
I'm
that?
fine. No objection.
And then the last thing is something I picked up at one of my conferences, which is a staff development day. So there are town halls that close one day a month to the public. So that during that day, the phones are being monitored but not answered, and there's no walk-in. That allows staff to catch up on paperwork, and it allows us to provide training and other development for staff. So I am proposing that we try this out, and I am proposing that we do it the day after a work session, because we're late tonight, but usually work sessions go late and the meetings are shorter. And that would allow our staff who is here to come in at 10 instead of 9 on that next day, get a little extra sleep, and then get into trainings, et cetera. So it would be 1 day a week. We would check the phones.
1 day a week or 1 day?
Or 1 day a month. We would check the phones, like probably 3 times in the day, return any calls that are actually urgent and can't wait till the next day. So
we're actually gonna have people coming in to train them?
we'll run some of the trainings ourselves. We have videos. We have like legit comes in. Sometimes it does trainings. Your trainings are mostly video online trainings for public works.
Outside entity.
Right. So, yeah, we've been talking about different pieces, and depending on what the topic is, how that training will go. You know, sometimes chiefs might do a training on office safety, and sometimes we might have HR come in and do one of your typical HR trainings. Is that everyone's okay with that? I don't want to just have you guys be like, you closed town hall.
Yeah, I mean.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
All right, so we're gonna try that out. We'll start that on April 17th, I think it is, or no, April 10th. Commissioner Colbert, are you okay with that? I'm sorry, I keep.
Generally, I'm okay with it. One thought I would have is, has there been any thought to potentially having one person kind of rotate to cover correspondence on a monthly basis?
To cover.
So if John did it, this month, maybe Lucy do it next month,
So,
like
so
that,
like,
right, Colbert?
yeah, so I think what you
Yeah,
were
for the
saying is for the staff development days, the entirety of the, general government would be kind of on this revised schedule or whatnot. But I'm just wondering if there are things that happen, early morning or whatever, late issues, anything that happens, if there's one designated person that can rotate on a month-to-month basis to handle anything that may come up super urgent. Has there been consideration given to that?
No, so everyone who does not attend these meetings will still be arriving at their regular report to work time. So the people who would arrive at 10 o'clock would be Chief First, Director Bond, Administrator Richardson, and Clerk Hotzen.
Okay.
Everyone else would come as per usual, do their functioning. It's just that Miss Lucy will walk in and she will be doing paperwork and emails to our committees and that kind of thing that she can't do when she's constantly picking up the phone.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm fine with that.
All right. Okay. So we will move on to, does anyone else have an administrative? Yes.
Do you have one? You go ahead.
Uh-oh.
Okay, well, hopefully my.
Problems at 9 o'clock.
Well, I'll make this quick. We're coming up on our renewal for our preventative maintenance, service for the generator, to the rear of the building. The last agreement we had was a 5-year agreement. That's when it was actually, when it was first installed, to now. This one is a 3-year agreement. The cost is $2,799.70 per year. That is an increase over the last agreement of $393.21, which equates to $131 per year of an increased cost. From what I can tell, looking through all of these, the only price for the maintenance that's going up is the actual inspection cost. There's 9 inspections within the 3-year interval, and these inspections are going from $351 to roughly $400. So $49.21 per inspection is the actual difference. Other than that, everything is the same. They come and they replace batteries, they do the load bank test, they make sure they change the fluids, make sure everything is functioning correctly, and, you know, things of that nature.
They do a major and a minor? Okay.
And this is a multi-year contract, so it needs to be approved by the board. So as we are potentially voting on one thing at the next meeting, we can vote on this at the next meeting.
This is
as well.
important.
Right. So there will be 2 voting items for public comment on the 9th of April.
Are we able to see the contract later?
Yes. Director Bond can send them to you. We usually don't publish them online because they have some account information and that kind of stuff on it.
What company is?
It's, Cummins. I will send the old contract along with it, because that actually outlines everything that
So you're just doing a renewal?
they.
Okay.
So he can send that to all of us, but like it does have account information.
But I mean, you really don't even need that. Yeah, that was really important, so.
Okay, and Chief, you have an administrative update.
Well, yes, it's kind of a administrative update, but more of a community update I was gonna talk about. So on last Wednesday, around 5:12 in the afternoon on Spring Branch Drive, we had sort of a neighbor dispute, which turned into an individual discharging a firearm. So with that said, you know, first I want to say that we should not try to settle neighborhood disputes with weapons. But, you know, this particular incident did happen. It was isolated to Spring Branch. There's no threat to the community. Prince George's County Police Department has established a new shooting team, which consists of investigators that handle shootings of contact and non-contact. What that means is if somebody fires a weapon and they hit somebody, that's considered a contact. Don't hit anybody or anything, it's non-contact. This was considered a non-contact shooting, so no one was injured. So basically, the individual who was responsible for this basically turned themselves in, because the Prince George's County Police obtained an arrest warrant for them. And basically, they are investigating it. This is what they do. At the time, our officers were not working. They had gotten off at 5 o'clock. So I just wanted to let the community know that we are aware, and the Prince George's County Police is handling this. And I had an update this morning. The individual is still incarcerated as of this morning at this afternoon at 1 o'clock. So just have to go through a legal court process, and we'll just see how it plays out. And town of Oklahoma officers will be on the street doing 18s, which is checking the neighborhood. Sure. Anybody has any questions?
But
I-
Chief Burke, sorry,
I just want to point out that although our officers were not on duty, Chief Burst was monitoring the situation with Prince George's County Police, and he and I were in communication. We were in communication with our media person as well.
And we put out a statement shortly after the incident update the next day.
are there relatively like no shootings here ever in this town?
Yes, correct. The first one that happened.
Okay.
So there might be some public comment.
Well, we'll get to, we get to that next. This is the end of our administrative updates. Do you have anything? All right. We will move on to general public comment. Please state your name and street for the record, and you have 3 minutes. And it'll really just be comments. If there's anything that needs clarification afterwards, I will provide that.
I have Patty Calicott online. Patty?
I got you. Sorry about that. After the tree fell from our property, and the lines came down, there's a box that's been hanging from the light pole. And it's a metal box. It's probably 2 foot tall, a foot wide, and maybe 6 or 9 inches across. It's pretty big and it's high up, and it's just been dangling there. But with the last windstorm that we have, it was flying and banging into the pole, and I'm kind of thinking it's going to become a safety hazard at some point in time. So I was just wondering if
I know
there's
that-
something we can do, or is there something, because they didn't do anything when the tree fell and they put the wires up other than just let it hang. And I think it sometime maybe it was attached to the pole. I don't know. But that windstorm really kicked it up, and it was swaying and banging everywhere. I'm just afraid it's going to fall and hurt somebody.
Okay, so we have a response to that, but do you have any other public comment in your 3 minutes before we answer that?
No, I don't. Other than, was the person who was arrested for the gun, were they in the town, or was somebody visiting them? I just wanted to know if it was
I don't know
arrested.
So, well, I'm going to defer to what we can disclose from Chief Burst, but I just want to make sure we use your 3 minutes to ask any questions you have before we respond.
Okay, that's all I have. Thanks.
Okay. So I'm going to go, Director Bond and I are going to answer that first question, which is, I noticed it when I was walking by with my children. I took a picture of it. I sent it to him, and I think he's been working on identifying who it belongs to.
We're working to figure out which utility it actually belongs to, so they can get that.
So we are working on the box issue. I don't know that we can provide the other information. Chief Burst knows whether we can comment on that or not.
They're a town resident.
That's what you want to know. It was a neighbor war.
So, all right, any other public comment?
I do not see.
All right.
Hand raised.
Hearing none, let's take a look at our next meeting agenda so we can preliminarily approve it. If you could read those 4, I really need to go to the eye doctor, items on that list. I think it's 5 for us, Clerk Hosen.
Will do. 6, business. A, draft ordinance 2024-01, fiscal year 2025 budget for discussion. B, draft Town of Upper Marlboro budget book for discussion. C, fiscal year 2024 budget amendments for discussion. D, code compliance for discussion. And the 2 items we've added this evening, which are the annexation agreement, which will be a board vote, and the Cummins contract, which will be a board vote.
Anything anyone wants to add? There may be things that come up that we add. Sounds good. Commissioner Colbert, anything else from you?
No, nothing to add.
All right. That looks good. So we are actually going to make a motion to go into closed session. It should be a pretty brief closed session, guys. It's just when I talk to you about the personnel stuff that's related to the budget, and I'm highly prepared. So we can exit to my office. So this meeting is over. You're allowed to exit now. You do not have to stay. We are proposing to go into closed session under general provisions, Article 3-305B1, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction, any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals. The Board of Commissioners proposes to go into closed session following the regular town meeting on Tuesday, March 26, 2024, to discuss employee performance and salaries. Can someone say?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. Clerk Hosen, would you call the roll?
Will do. President Franklin,
Aye.
Commissioner Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Colbert,
Aye.
Commissioner Lott,
Aye.
Commissioner Pravat.
Aye.
Motion carries. You're in closed session.
Now in closed session, we will adjourn for 5 minutes while we kick everyone out or move ourselves and get Commissioner Colbert on a different line.
Thank you.
Thank you.